All right, everyone. I'm super excited to have Beth here. Beth, you are awesome. I'm just going to have you share. But before we start, we had a hard time deciding what we wanted to go. But for every emoji, for every comment, for every like, we are going to give Beth $1 towards Amazon. So, guys, fill her, make her a fancy rich lady. Beth, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what kind of got you kind of started doing the midlife makeover program.
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Beth. I am going to turn 46 years old in a couple of weeks, in July. And I live in Ellicott City, Maryland. I'm originally from Iowa. And I moved to Maryland 7 years ago from New Orleans after being there for 15 years for grad school and well, getting married, having my daughter, working, and then moving here. Um, so what got me started in the midlife makeover? Um I was in a place where I would describe my sort of physical and health status as like mediocre. So not bad, I'm a generally healthy person. I was not overweight by definition, but I was carrying a few more pounds than than ideal. And I was not satisfied with my look and feel. And it's like I could, like I could look good. I could put on an outfit and I remember thinking like if you buy the size that fits, even if you hate what size that is, but it will look better than trying to squeeze into something too small or whatever. So like I could still make myself look good and still feel good sometimes, but I knew deep down that it just wasn't satisfying. And so and so I kind of had this realization that, we as women and really as people more broadly deserve to feel like our best selves. And that might sound like really kind of daunting. And I think at times it felt that way to me. Like I was like, oh yeah, my best self, that's gonna take a ton of work, or whatever. But it turns out in hindsight that for me, it was only a few months away. So I joined the program at the very end of December and went into the new year as I don't even like to call it a New Year's resolution because that's kind of taboo. Like it means it's not going to last or something. But anyway, but went into the new year with this program and the time kind of flew. And like all of a sudden, in April, I guess, and by now, like here I am feeling great. And it's not just about the way I look, although that definitely is part of it. I'm more satisfied with the way I look and the way my clothes fit. And I bought a two-piece swimming suit yesterday, stuff like that. But it's also the way I feel. Like I know that my body inside is doing better. I'm treating it better and it's doing better than I was when I was less conscientious about my nutrition and about my fitness and things like that. Um so yeah, I think so that was like one of my takeaways was like those first few months of the program. I mean, it was when I say it's hard work, I don't want anyone to think like, oh, then I can't do it. It's not that hard. It's actually not that hard. But you're focused. That's the thing is like you're focused on it and you're consistent. But it's like that time flies. And then all of a sudden here I am going into summer with a two-piece swimming suit, like on cloud nine about it. So anyway, so yeah, so that's where I am from then to now.
Awesome. So these are some huge wins. So do you have any other wins that you want to add, like your biggest wins?
Oh gosh. What are my biggest wins? So I would say, well, I mentioned, clothing fitting better. And I think several of my peers in this program have said this too, where it's like you can go back into your closet if you haven't gotten rid of some of your older clothes that might not fit anymore. It's like you can go back into your closet and like reshop. Like so I had some stuff that I really liked and hadn't gotten rid of, and I put it on and I'm like, oh my gosh, this fits. And I'm like, and it looks great. And so, it's like on one hand, I did get to go out and buy a couple of new things, that fit me nicely now, but I also have stuff that I wasn't, that was just kind of pushed aside before that I've come back to. So that's one. also just that you all probably have better words to describe this, but that motivation that comes with like once you're doing something and you're succeeding, you become more motivated. And so what I mean by that is like before I was in this program and I would try to pick up like maybe more consistent working out or fitness or try to do something with my diet or whatever. And it maybe be marginally successful for a short period of time and whatever, but never quite hit the stride where it's like, it's working. I'm doing great. And then but once you do hit that stride, which like I said happened like in the first few months for me in the program, then you have fewer and fewer days where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this workout, or oh, I just wish I could eat donuts all day, or whatever, whatever the case may be. It's like you have fewer days where any of it seems daunting, and more days where you're like, I'm gonna do my workout because and it's subconscious now, I think, but it's like I'm gonna do this because I know that's what got me here. I know that's why I feel great today. And so doing the workout again today is why I'm gonna feel great next week and next month and whatever.
I love that. And I have chills, and it shows like your identity too is changed. So I want kind of to circle back to the beginning of, thinking about joining the program and going on this journey with us. What kind of maybe were you doubtful or skeptical or maybe
Yeah.
nervous about?
Yeah, so when I joined, I knew that I would do a good job following the program. And Sarah signed me up, and I remember having this conversation with her where I said to her, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like I'm a follow like I can follow things like that. But what I wondered about and maybe worried about is like whether it would be something that I could keep up on my own longer term. So I knew like if I sign up for this, if I write the check, if I've got coaches, like I'm just going to do what they tell me to because the accountability is there and whatever. But as I've been in the program, I've been thinking all along about what does this look like for like the rest of my life? And making sure that I'm translating what I'm learning from you all and what I'm practicing in the program to like processing in a way that it would become sustainable for me as a lifestyle and as like because this is it like ideally this is training. Actually, the analogy that I used with Sarah one time was, to me this is like graduate school. You go to graduate school for a couple of years, you pay for graduate school sometimes, or get a scholarship. I think I got like one of the Black Friday scholarships. So it is really like graduate school. I paid for some and I got a scholarship for some. But anyway, but you learn essentially the what you need to know for your to do your career in graduate school. And then you're supposed to graduate and come out and work for like the rest of your life or however many decades you work. And you're supposed to know how to do it then by yourself, like without professors, without, whatever. And yes, you can find other resources and you're supposed to like go out and look things up and whatever, but you're kind of on your own. And that's so I think about having been to grad school twice, I think about this program like that, where it's like I am learning what I need to know, I'm being trained, and then after this, my sort of career or like my lifestyle is set, and it's up to me to carry it forward. And so there were definitely a few things along the way that I remember kind of questioning, and one of them was as I was learning, like I was in the beginning, and I think a lot of people have this experience. I was struggling to get enough protein, and so I was, buying protein powders and protein bars, and then kind of struggling with like some of them have like artificial sweeteners, and I don't really like that, and stuff like that. And I remember saying like, okay, I can do, the bars or the sweeteners or kind of supplement protein for this, like while I'm doing this. But that to me doesn't translate to the rest of my life. Like, so, some of the stuff I don't like enough, whatever. Well, over time, I've had conversations with you all about where else to get protein and what to do. And I've also just tried different things myself. And I went from, or in the early days, just struggling to even get say 75 to 80% of whatever my protein budget was at the time, to now I'll have days where I like accidentally go over, where I'm like, oh, total like 128 grams done. And I didn't even like, I mean, yeah, like I probably had a smoothie that had some protein powder in it, but it's not even like I was like focused all day long on like I have to. It's so I'm finding that the thought process that I've been having throughout the program about like how does this translate to long term has helped me learn and sort of internalize things that I think will translate to long term because that's the real um end game here, right? Like it's like this will be a period of time. It's successful so far. I'm assuming successful during this, but then it's like hopefully I'm around for decades more and still experiencing this success for myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the entire goal of our program with the phases, right?
Yep.
So, like, to experience that. So, I want you to think about like what has changed. I mean, you talked about that a little bit from your mindset. I want you to think about like other experiences you may have had trying to lose weight and how is this different and how did that change your mindset? Because you sort of talked about that, but how is this program kind of different than
Right.
other things that are out there?
Yeah. Yeah, so probably for me there's a few things that I learned through kind of the structure of this program about sort of the combination of the strength training and the protein and the macros and nutrition and whatever that I didn't ever fully understand before. Like, everybody has some knowledge, or most people have some knowledge about diet and nutrition and whatnot, but that full like macro distribution it's like I didn't know that. I was definitely not eating enough protein before. And also learning that protein, just consuming enough protein can help you burn fat, say as opposed to doing like super intense cardio, which I'm kind of past the age where I want to do that anymore. It's like and so for me it's like in the past I was able to lose weight at times and I would have, kind of successful stretches and I knew some of what to do in terms of exercise and nutrition. But what this program did for me is put it like packaged it all into kind of the complete picture of like this is what works, combining strength training and the nutrition and and so I would say like in the past if there was a way to measure like how efficiently I lost weight, I probably like even if I was successful in losing, say 5 or 10 pounds, I probably did it less efficiently. So maybe not as fast, or maybe with a lot more huffing and puffing, or whatever, than I did it now. Because it's like that the combination is I don't want to say it's magic because it's also work, but it does feel a little magical at times. Like you're like, wow, it's working.
I love that. What is your favorite part about like this program, this lifestyle, what you've been doing?
Um, I mean, the results. Like, I mean, I like the fact going back to what I just said about like what I've learned. I like the fact that I feel like I understand, like I have the full understanding now of how it works. It doesn't feel as much like oh, let's just try this and see. Like why don't I try running 3 times a week and see if that works? Or why don't I try not eating dessert and see if that works? It's like the sort of guessing game is gone and so I like just the understanding of sort of the formula. Um and then yeah, it's like I like the success. Like there has not been like I have not regretted. At no point during the program have I thought, oh, either this is too much work, I wish I hadn't signed up for it, or why did I pay for this? Like, like when maybe I could have done it myself. Like um I've never regretted making the choice to join and most of that is just because every day like I see the benefits. And they're some of the best benefits you can have in life, right? To have a healthy body and you know your mental health comes along with it for the most part. Um so yeah, it's kind of invaluable in that way.
Tell me about that a little bit more, like the mental health comes with it. Like what do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, stressors are still present in life, you know, whether that be, you know, household things or work related things or whatever. Like, none of that has gone away. And, you know, some of it is still, you know, just like it was. And I still have my moments where I'm upset and stressed about something or whatever. And so it's not like it, you know, you know, it's not dramatic, but what I was talking about before, where I said that each day, because of the benefits that I see in myself and feel in myself, each day when I feel more and more motivated, or you know whatever, I feel that momentum of like this is you know like this is what I'm doing, and yeah, and just feel more positive about it, and more optimistic, I guess. And so and then, you know, it does like, you know, also like the endorphins and all that kind of stuff. Like when you exercise, it's shown that you do experience some kind of mental boost. But yeah, I would say that probably the mental boost that I appreciate the most is just sort of the satisfaction and the motivation that comes with experiencing benefits from, you know, from what I'm practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super important. I'm curious to know, this is the last question, like what would you say to someone like yourself who, is like in their mid 40s, like myself, and you are kind of feeling mediocre, right? You
Yeah.
know that you could do better. Maybe you've been following us for a while, maybe you just heard about us through a friend, or you just caught our, what would you say to someone who's thinking about maybe booking a call with us, thinking about joining our program, but hasn't pulled the trigger yet? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, that's a good question because like I said before, I have not had a single regret about this. And when I made the decision to join, I wouldn't say that I like waited for the perfect time or anything like that. You know, because there is no perfect time. And it's like and that's the other thing. It's like if you're waiting for like, oh, I want to make sure that, you know, my work schedule is not as busy so that I can fit this in, or my kid's schedule is not as busy so I can fit this in. Well, that's not how it's gonna last for the rest of your life. You got to be able to do it, you know, you got to be able to build it in whenever. And so I would say that I would say that, or kind of repeat what I've already said, that like I saw benefits within the first, I mean, you see early benefits like within the first couple of weeks, but saw like meaningful, motivating benefits within the first couple of months, and then, you know, and whatnot. And so so it's like, you know, maybe, you know, it's like that whole thing about, you know, maybe I could do it on my own, or maybe, but if you kind of just want the guarantee that it's gonna work, like, you know, and like you are going to learn, you're gonna learn some valuable um techniques. You're also gonna get some important motivational boosts in terms of, we'll maybe get to that later, but motivational boosts and sort of tactics and things like that, um that are effective. And so it, you know, so if you commit to a program like this, like you will benefit from it, and it will possibly happen faster than you think. And so it's kind of one of those like um yeah, like I like, you know, it's been a positive experience for me. And so I would definitely encourage people to think seriously about, you know, jumping in, um, and, you know, not waiting, and, um, yeah, and just, feeling optimistic. Let's put it that way. Like you should feel optimistic going into a program like this when there's a whole community of us who have experienced the results and now like and don't regret and joining.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
Um, no, well, I'll just elaborate on that one quick comment I kind of glossed over. There are some key motivational things that I've learned from you all as well as other members in the program that are really meaningful in terms of kind of the strategy. And so one of those things is that strength training is non-negotiable, but it doesn't take that long. And it's also something that I've found, and I may have doubted before, but that you can do it while you're traveling, you can do it while you're working. I mean, sometimes if I'm on a like a webinar or something where I can be off video and I just need to be listening, like I can use hand weights and stuff like that and do things while and in fact I listen better if I'm doing something physical as opposed to like trying to read my email at the same time and stuff like that. So it's like you can fit it in and then you don't like intense cardio is not required as part of this program. So if it's not that's not something that somebody wants to do, they don't have to. Um, but then the other motivational things, one of my favorites is once you're where you want to be or living the way you want to live in terms of training and nutrition, if you have a bad day or two, it is not going to knock you back to like to where you were before or a place where you don't want to be, as long as you get right back on track and get back to your consistency. In the same way, when you're not at, sort of your peak um, you know, physical, state or whatnot, if you have like 1 or 2 days where you eat really well and you exercise, you're not going to be, it's not like on the third day, you're going to look exactly the way you want to and have dropped, 10 pounds or whatever. And so it's like, so that's one thing that I'm now really starting to kind of see the benefits of because I've gotten to where I want to be, where I want to maintain. And then if I say go out of town and have, a day that's a little more indulgent nutritionally or something like that, it's like that's not going to do anything as long as I just go right back into my routine in my normal life. And that's kind of nice because then you can have those days, and it's like and not feel guilty about them. Um, the other thing is just how important protein is. Like that is like the one of the biggest that things like I mean, it's like I kind of knew and there's, information out there and whatever, but really like that being such a core of this model and how well it how effective it is something that kind of surprised me, to be honest.
I think so. Piggyback on what you're saying. There's so many shifts here that you were talking a lot about our pillars inside our program,
Hmm.
and a huge piece of that is knowing how to eat for your body and also that mindset piece, right? Because
Yeah.
so many of us as women, and I can talk about like myself personally, used to, think that we are being good or whatever that means. And then when we have like a bad day or whatever, it would just derail us. And that
Yeah.
was kind of our problem. So a lot of it is kind of like understanding how to move on and having that mental, like that space to understand not just, in theory, oh, you can move on, but really understand and look at it and being coached through it to empower
Hmm.
yourself. So I think like sharing that is so important for other women to hear and hear like how, another thing that you said, yes, this is a guarantee, right? You follow our instructions. It's not just about doing it for a certain period of time, it's learning how to do it long term. So I really want to thank you for coming in here today, being vulnerable, sharing, because that's another one, our pillar, empowering, and inspiring others. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I am Beth, like I look pretty good, I look fine, but I want to look my best, be my best, and set myself up for a future of looking and feeling my best, you can message us, be like Beth, and we can talk about if this is a good fit or not. By messaging us, you're not committing, you're just saying, I want more information. Beth, again, thank you so, so much. This was really, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing. We are so appreciative.
Sure. Thank you.